Oh, Natalia. What's wrong? You angry again?
Asked a voice from afar. When Frazer turned and saw the young man, his expression darkened. Was dressed extravagantly. Even the sunglasses he wore were worth hundreds of dollars. He was Moss Ferlin, a junior executive of the Philly Group. During Frazer's 3 months in his new position, he had seen Moss harass his wife countless times. It was a good thing that Natalia had some keen observation skills and could defend herself. Every time Moss tried to pester her, she was able to avoid his moves with great ingenuity and rationality. Regardless, it was annoying, and now that he had appeared at this awkward moment, Frazer had a bad feeling.
Dr. Navels, what's going on?
Moss asked in a strange tone. Before Natalia could respond, Peter stepped up and immediately explained the situation. Moss nodded and agreed, but paused thoughtfully before asking.
But Mr. Earl, aren't you being a little too heartless? Especially involving our lovely director, Navels, in your threat?
Moss thought about it for a while and came to a conclusion, saying,
See, how about this? Let me take care of this little situation for now. Natalia. So you worked really hard to get where you are with the company. And I appreciate your hard work. You should understand this without me even saying anything. So you have dinner with me tomorrow evening. We're going to discuss how we're going to proceed. Perhaps I can think of a way for you to get a promotion. I think it's supposed to be cold tomorrow. So be sure to bring your stockings.
Frazer wasn't stupid either. He naturally understood the hidden meaning behind the junior executive's words.
Do you think I don't exist?
He could let a lot of things slide, but when it came to his wife and her dignity, there was no way he could tolerate such a behavior. Frazer was about to explode.
Stop it, Frazer. Don't you think you've caused me enough trouble already?
She turned away before anyone could see the embarrassment on her face. She was confused and didn't know what to do. Glancing at Frazer again, Moss grinned. He leaned over and whispered,
Might as well tell you. I've taken a fancy to your wife, and I plan to sleep with her. And someone like you can't stop me. You simply can't compete.
Moss left with a burst of laughter while Frazer kept his head down. He dug his fingernails angrily into the flesh of his palms. Moss had completely embarrassed him and trampled all over his dignity. Later that evening, after Frazer had left work, he stood on the bridge and watched the flow of traffic below, his mind lost in thought. As his thoughts coalesced, his gaze grew colder and more determined.
No matter how wrong I am, I can still endure it. But if anyone goes after Natalia, all bets are off. I'll personally send them to hell.
He took out his phone, found a number he hadn't used in years, and clicked on the call icon. The phone quickly connected, and an excited voice could be heard from the other end of the line.
When I picked up the phone and I saw who was calling, I couldn't believe it. Is it really you, my young friend? You actually called. Did you know I was...
Frazer interrupted the person on the other end of the line.
Uncle Sam, I'm in some trouble right now. I need your help.
What? Someone's trying to harm you? Of course I can send.
No, it's not that troublesome. Just need money to solve this problem. I need a few $1 million.
Old Sam sighed in relief.
You gave me such a scare. Look, forget about the money. Whatever you need, it's yours. But...
He hesitated.
No need to say anything more. I understand that since I'm asking for help, my decision to separate myself from the family becomes invalid. But I can't return just yet.
Uncle Sam was excited to hear Frazer's words. He had been waiting to hear them for years.
Good. This wouldn't be a problem. As long as you agree to return to the family, everything will be fine. You know, of all the successes for the Macklemore family, the one your father values the most is you.
Frazer became silent for a moment. He really didn't want to talk about this topic. He cleared his throat and tried to get the conversation back on track.
how long till the money gets here? You should still know the private account information, right?
However, Uncle Sam was still going on about the family.
Frazer, I won't hide it from you. After your father found out you were in San Clemente, he secretly purchased the largest company there, in your name. You have plenty of money. You can just go and take over the company.
Hearing that, Frazer pursed his lips. It seemed that even though he had been away from home for many years, his father was still thinking about him. Otherwise, according to the nature of the Macklemore family, they wouldn't have even considered buying a business in a place as small as San Clemente.
You'll also be interested to know that a member of the Orange County Chamber of Commerce has ties to the family, as well as companies and businesses in the local area also having strong connections to the family.
Okay, thanks for the heads up. We'll talk again soon. It looks like the days ahead are going to be far from peaceful.
Members of the wealthy class never seemed to be able to escape from their obligations. Frazer had chosen to leave his family because he didn't want to live a life of deception. But now, he had to face it bravely because his wife was being bullied. After letting out a long puff of smoke, he put out the cigarette and tossed it into the garbage. He then got into his car and drove to a corporate headquarters building across town. It was one of the largest companies in San Clemente, and he had been here many times during the past 3 months because he had been in charge of distributing and putting up flyers. The two women who worked at the front desk always gave him a hard time. Frazer walked into the lobby on the first floor and was immediately noticed by the two women.
Frazer, it's you again.
You really have some nerve coming here again and again.
Well, don't come in. You're not allowed here anymore. Look at the notice.
Take a good look.
You've been put on our blacklist, and I designed this announcement myself. How about that?
Frazer craned his head and saw that under his photo there was a short blurb. He read it silently. Frazer, a useless salesperson at the Philly Group, has repeatedly snuck into our office area to distribute unwanted flyers. This worthless person, whose wife has repeatedly cheated on him, is not welcome in the building. Recently, the women's restroom has been subjected to a peeping Tom, and we suspect that Frazer is the culprit. As such, he has been put on the company's blacklist. If anyone sees him on the premises, contact security or a staff member immediately. After reading the description, Frazer frowned and thought, if they don't want me to put up flyers, that's fine, but why drag my name through the mud? Frazer took a deep breath and resisted the urge to lower himself to the level of the two women at the desk. He ignored the notice and said coolly,
Tell Mr. Wilson I'd like to see him.
Now, who is here to see Mr. Wilson?
asked a voice from behind them. At that moment, a balding middle-aged man walked out. When he saw Frazer, he heaved a sigh and said,
Ah, so it's you. What are you doing here? Still trying to sell properties? Maybe you're trying to sell your own property. Here's a bit on the smaller side. Do you think my boss would like that? You are a fool.
Mr. Cole, I agree. Do you want me to call the security?
One of the women at the desk piped up. She reached for the desk phone and started pressing the buttons. Frazer said calmly,
Well, you're right about one thing. I am here to sell your boss my home. In fact, I don't want to sell him one property. I'm going to sell him 100.
With that, Frazer took out his cell phone and directly called Henry Wilson, the corporation's president. His tone was full of arrogance as he ordered Henry to meet him in the lobby on the first floor within 3 minutes.
You want to sell the boss 100 properties. I'll tell you what, if you're successful in selling your properties to Mr. Wilson, I will kneel down and I will lick your shoes in front of everybody here.
Robert was overjoyed at the foolishness of the young man. As soon as he said that, security guards rushed in. Robert was in no mood to waste any more words on Frazer. He impatiently waved his hand.
Not you again.
One of the guards cried as he recognized Frazer.
You may have gotten away from us last time, but you won't escape so easily this time.
Both guards advanced on Frazer as they pulled out their nightsticks to give him a beating. He stood and watched them step closer, a somber expression on his face.
All of you, stop.
Shouted a stern voice from nearby. The security guards froze, as did everyone else.
Mr. Wilson, what are you doing here? Can I help you with anything?
All eyes turned to the front desk, where Henry Wilson was standing, watching the unprofessional scene unfolding before him with disdain.
Why are you still standing there? Frazer, get lost!
Henry's eyes widened in shock when he heard Frazer's name, and he stared at the young man before him. It's him? He thought in wonder. It's really him? Henry snapped.
Get lost. You are the ones who should get lost.
You fools. You bunch of idiots. Do you know who he is?